Imagine facing a day when nothing can unsettle you. The world around you swirls in chaos. Unexpected problems arise, people question you, and obstacles materialize, but you remain unmoved. Isn't this what we all seek? A profound strength to withstand whatever comes without losing our calm. The philosophy of Stoicism offers precisely that. A pathway to inner resilience, enabling us to navigate life's storms without surrendering our peace of mind. Stoicism teaches that while external events may remain unpredictable, our response to them can be a source of unshakable stability. This video will explore principles inspired by the ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who believed in transforming adversity into strength. Epictetus proposed that our reactions, rather than the events themselves, shape our lives. Today, let's delve into these principles, each one crafted to cultivate resilience and mastery over our own minds. We'll explore how to build this inner fortress, starting with learning to listen, releasing attachment to what we cannot control, and recognizing the true wealth that lies within. As you journey through each principle, consider, what would life be like if nothing external held the power to disturb your peace? Stick around until the end, as the final principles will reveal the core essence of this timeless philosophy. Let's begin with the roots of resilience and see where this journey leads. 1. Embrace inner resilience. Rooted like a tree in the storm, when life sends turbulent winds your way, do you find yourself swaying or do you stand firm? Imagine yourself as a tree caught in a fierce storm. The branches may sway wildly, the leaves may scatter in the wind, yet the trunk remains rooted deeply, unaffected at its core. This vision embodies the Stoic ideal of resilience, being firmly grounded despite external chaos. Stoicism teaches us that by remaining centered and rooted, we can face any adversity without losing our peace of mind. To act as if nothing bothers you is not to deny the existence of challenges. Rather, it is a conscious choice to protect your inner self from external disruptions. The storms of life will pass, and with each passing storm, you become more resilient. By training yourself to remain grounded, you begin to see the value in every hardship. Imagine the possibilities. What might you achieve if you could face every storm without fear? Epictetus, a former slave who rose to become one of Stoicism's most respected teachers, believed that true strength comes not from external power, but from mastering one's reactions. Each challenge, every difficult moment, serves as a teacher on your path to becoming unshakable. When we adopt this perspective, our hardships become training grounds for building resilience. You are no longer simply enduring difficulties, you are fortifying yourself with every test. Do you let small inconveniences disturb your peace, or do you remain steadfast, like the tree with roots reaching deep into the earth? This resilience does not deny that storms exist, but empowers you to weather them with grace and inner strength. Each hardship becomes an opportunity to deepen your self-control, and each setback a chance to fortify your resolve. Through Stoicism, we learn to see that resilience lies within us, waiting to be cultivated. Just as a tree draws strength from its roots, we too can draw strength from a grounded mind and a calm spirit. Imagine the freedom this would bring. No longer ruled by the unpredictability of external events, you become the master of your own mind. With each challenge faced, you build a legacy of inner strength that can withstand any storm. Reflect on this. How might you deepen your roots so that external events lose their power to sway you? Each time you center yourself amid chaos, you nurture this inner resilience. Embrace it, for it is a gift that will serve you well on your journey. 2. Listen twice as much as you speak, the wisdom of silence. How often do we miss the wisdom around us because we are too focused on our own thoughts and words? To practice Stoicism means to recognize the power of listening, an act that deepens understanding and nurtures our inner peace. Epictetus famously remarked that we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth, implying a simple yet profound truth. Nature itself guides us to listen more than we speak. In the chaos of daily life, this principle of listening becomes a powerful tool for remaining calm, receptive, and wise. Listening, in Stoic terms, is not merely about hearing words. It's about being fully present, absorbing what others have to say without judgment or interruption. When we listen carefully, we gather insight not only from others, but from the world around us. Each word, each observation, becomes an opportunity to learn, grow, and sharpen our understanding. As Stoics, we should aim to cultivate a quiet mind, one that receives more than it projects. This receptive state protects us from hasty reactions and allows us to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Ask yourself, how often do I truly listen to those around me? Do I let their words sink in? Or do I find myself formulating a response before they've even finished speaking? This habit of anticipating our own response, of prioritizing our voice over another's, weakens our ability to connect, empathize, and ultimately grow. Through attentive listening, we begin to appreciate others' perspectives, and we free ourselves from the need to dominate conversations. In a way, every time we listen intently, we practice humility, a core tenet of Stoic thought. Consider the strength that comes with listening. A quiet mind, tuned to the voices of others, is less likely to be disturbed by trivial concerns. When we become genuinely interested in what others have to say, our focus shifts outward, and the pressures of our inner thoughts begin to soften. In doing so, we develop a calm that can withstand criticism, disagreement, or even hostility. Listening becomes an exercise in patience, training us to accept things as they are rather than as we wish them to be. In this practice, we realize the value of silence. To listen is to engage in a form of stillness, a moment when our mind ceases to produce and instead absorbs. This silence is not empty. It is full of awareness, of openness. Epictetus teaches us that in these moments of silence, we often find the insights we need to move forward with clarity and purpose. Listening, then, becomes a way to stay grounded, preventing us from reacting impulsively or being swept up in our emotions. This principle also encourages us to observe the wisdom that lies in simplicity. Often when we are silent, when we refrain from adding our opinions or judgments, we gain clarity. The Stoics understood that to live well, one must sometimes let go of the need to be heard. When we do so, we open ourselves to the vast wisdom of the world, learning from both its beauty and its challenges. In practice, listening teaches us patience, humility, and acceptance. By paying careful attention to what others share, we deepen our understanding of human nature and, in turn, strengthen our own character. The more we listen, the more we realize how much there is to learn and how much we can gain by simply observing, absorbing, and reflecting. Reflect on this for a moment. How different might your life be if you approached each interaction with the intent to listen rather than to respond? What if, instead of being driven to share your thoughts, you were driven by a curiosity to understand others? In this simple yet profound shift, you may find a peace that eludes those who constantly seek to make their voices heard. Next, we will explore another essential principle that builds upon this foundation: the importance of detaching from what we cannot control, freeing ourselves from unnecessary suffering. 3. Detach from what you cannot control, freeing yourself from unnecessary suffering. Imagine how much time we spend worrying about things we can't change: what others think, potential misfortunes or situations that lie beyond our control. Stoicism teaches that true freedom isn't about controlling the world, but about releasing our attachment to these external forces. Epictetus believed our power resides only in our choices and responses, not in the events themselves. To live peacefully, we must distinguish between what we can shape and what we must let go. Detachment here is not indifference, it's a deliberate focus on what's within our control, our thoughts, attitudes, and actions, while releasing the burden of what isn't. Think about this. How much stress do you feel over things beyond your control? Does worrying about them actually change them? Epictetus reminds us that mental and emotional energy is precious. Wasting it on the uncontrollable drains us, leaving us less capable of handling what we can influence. Picture a rainy day that ruins your plans. Frustration may be your first reaction, yet it doesn't stop the rain. The Stoic would ask, what can I control here? Perhaps adjusting your plans or choosing to enjoy the rain as part of your experience. This detachment makes us like sailors who, instead of cursing the wind, learn to adjust their sails. It also applies to other people's perceptions and judgments. Often we seek validation, adjusting our actions to please others or avoid criticism. But by doing so, we hand over our peace to the ever-changing opinions of others. Epictetus wisely points out that while we control our actions, we don't control how others see them. Imagine the freedom in knowing that praise or blame doesn't reflect your worth, but their perspective. When we stop needing approval, we act with authenticity and integrity. Detaching from what we can't control also frees us from fear. Much anxiety stems from endless what-ifs. What if I fail? What if things go wrong? Stoicism encourages us to meet these fears with calm realism. After all, the future is uncertain. By releasing the need to control outcomes, we let go of the agony of fearing what may never happen. This practice of detachment allows us to embrace life as it unfolds. We can set intentions without the expectation that things must turn out a certain way. Peace follows in both success and failure when we recognize that our efforts matter more than the outcome. Reflect on this. What if you released one worry beyond your control? What if you met life with acceptance, shedding the weight of unnecessary worry? Detachment may not make life easier, but it strengthens us to face it as it is, knowing that true freedom lies in choosing our response rather than in changing the world. Coming up next, we'll explore a complementary practice, preparing for adversity so that, when challenges do arise, we meet them with readiness, not fear. 4. Prepare for life's adversities. Embrace the power of readiness. Imagine a life where every challenge you face meets calm, prepared resilience. How different would it feel if, rather than reacting with shock or fear, you met every difficulty with a sense of readiness? Stoicism teaches us that expecting adversity, instead of fearing it, grants us strength and peace. Epictetus emphasized the value of mental preparation, not to dwell on negatives, but to build an unshakable foundation of inner resilience. Preparing for life's adversities means acknowledging that setbacks, losses, and challenges are inevitable. Instead of hoping we never encounter these, Stoicism advises us to embrace a mindset of preparedness. The practice of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, asks us to envision possible challenges so we can be mentally equipped to face them. This isn't pessimism or a fixation on failure. It's a way to fortify ourselves by accepting life's natural difficulties. Think about how often we worry about the unknown, fearing potential losses or setbacks. Would those fears lessen if we trained ourselves to expect adversity as part of life? By mentally rehearsing these potential difficulties, we begin to build coping strategies in advance. For example, if you consider the possibility of financial hardship, you might cultivate a frugal mindset or set aside an emergency fund. If you anticipate personal setbacks, you could practice mindfulness, grounding yourself in the realization that inner peace doesn't depend on external conditions. This readiness goes beyond specific challenges and extends to a broader acceptance of life's uncertainties. Stoicism teaches us that we may not predict every detail of the future, but we can count on a mixture of joy and sorrow, success and failure. By acknowledging this truth, we remove the element of surprise that often leads to panic or distress when adversity strikes. You may still feel the impact, but you won't be overwhelmed by it. Instead, you'll be ready, knowing you anticipated this very moment. Epictetus believed that by preparing for adversity, we protect ourselves from suffering caused by denial or shock. Imagine the strength you would possess if, when facing a challenge, you could say, "I was ready for this." This mindset doesn't erase the difficulty, but changes how deeply it affects you. Each trial becomes not just something to endure, but an opportunity to evolve, growing stronger and more resilient with every experience. Preparing for adversity also brings a sense of purpose. Instead of shrinking from potential failures, you step forward boldly, accepting risks and challenges with the understanding that setbacks are just part of the journey. This readiness grants freedom to act, to dream, to pursue your goals without constant fear of what may go wrong. You begin to see adversity not as an enemy, but as a teacher, guiding you to build resilience and wisdom. Reflect on this. How might your life change if you expected challenges instead of fearing them? Would you become less anxious, more accepting, even more courageous? By training ourselves to anticipate life's tests, we strip away their power to unsettle us. We face them calmly, seeing them as essential parts of the journey. In doing so, we develop a quiet, unbreakable strength. As we move forward, we'll explore the importance of aligning ourselves with positive influences, those who uplift and inspire us, reinforcing our resilience and determination. 5. Surround yourself with positive influences. Strengthen your spirit with uplifting company. Take a moment to reflect on those who fill your daily life. Do they uplift you, energize you, and encourage you to become your best self? Or do they drain your spirit, clouding your mind with negativity? Stoicism teaches us that our chosen associations significantly shape our state of mind. Epictetus, like many Stoic thinkers, urged us to surround ourselves with people who bring out the best in us, those whose presence enriches our lives and strengthens our character. Think of it this way: just as a garden flourishes with sunlight and rich soil, the human spirit thrives when surrounded by positivity and encouragement. We are constantly influenced by those around us, whether we're aware of it or not. A friend who fosters kindness, a mentor who encourages resilience, or a colleague who embodies integrity, each of these people contributes to our growth and well-being. On the other hand, those who indulge in negativity, gossip, or complaints can draw us into their energy, hindering our path toward inner peace and virtue. Consider how often you've felt discouraged or unmotivated because of someone's influence. Perhaps a friend's cynicism made you doubt yourself, or a co-worker's relentless complaints cast a shadow over your day. Epictetus reminds us that we must guard our minds against these influences. Choosing our company wisely is not just an act of self-care. It's a Stoic practice of protecting our inner peace. When we align with individuals who share our values, we reinforce our commitment to resilience, virtue, and growth. This doesn't mean avoiding every person with differing views or experiences. Rather, it means being mindful of how others affect us. When we surround ourselves with people who inspire us to be better, we naturally begin to embody those qualities ourselves. positive influences remind us of our potential and encourage us to rise above challenges instead of being defeated by them. In their presence, we feel energized, motivated, and capable of facing adversity. Ask yourself, who are the people in my life who bring positivity and wisdom? Are they the ones I spend the most time with? Stoicism encourages us to actively seek out those who lift us up and guide us toward a purposeful life. Sometimes this may mean limiting time with those who drain us, or even ending relationships that hinder our growth. While this may be difficult, it is a necessary step to protect our inner peace and cultivate a resilient life. In this light, friendship becomes more than just companionship. It becomes a path to self-improvement. True friends in Stoic thought are not merely those who comfort us, but those who challenge us to uphold our values. They help us refine our character, not by offering superficial praise, but by encouraging us to pursue what is noble and good. Imagine a friendship where both individuals are committed to growth, where each encounter strengthens resolve, sharpens the mind, and deepens mutual respect. This is the Stoic vision of friendship, a relationship that fosters virtue and elevates both people. Reflect for a moment. What would change if you dedicated yourself to building such friendships? If you sought out people who, by their example, encouraged you to be stronger and more resilient? In doing so, you create a circle of positive influence that fortifies you against life's challenges. Your companions become a source of strength, and you, in turn, inspire them to walk the same path of integrity and peace. As we move forward, we'll explore how living a life of simplicity can free us from unnecessary burdens, allowing us to focus on what truly matters. 6. Live simply and avoid attachment to wealth. Finding freedom in simplicity. Have you ever noticed how much energy we spend pursuing things we believe will bring happiness, yet often find ourselves unfulfilled once we attain them? In Stoicism, wealth and possessions are seen not as goals, but as potential distractions from our true purpose. Epictetus and the Stoics teach us that, while external success and comfort are not inherently bad, the relentless pursuit of wealth can easily become a trap, binding us to a cycle of never-ending desires. To live simply is to liberate ourselves from the tyranny of excess and unnecessary complexity. Stoicism invites us to examine our attachment to material wealth, asking us to question whether it serves us or if, in fact, we are serving it. What does wealth mean if it constantly requires upkeep, maintenance, and worry over its potential loss? By embracing simplicity, we step off the treadmill of consumption, reclaiming our energy for what truly matters: inner peace, virtue, and meaningful connections with others. Ask yourself, what would change in your life if you chose simplicity over luxury? Would your days be less stressful, your thoughts clearer, and your heart lighter? Stoicism does not demand that we renounce all material comforts, but it does urge us to evaluate our priorities and let go of the attachment to wealth as a primary source of fulfillment. True wealth, as Epictetus reminds us, lies not in what we possess, but in our freedom from excessive desire and in the contentment we find in what is already within our grasp. Consider the pressures that often come with wealth. A more luxurious life requires greater effort to sustain. It demands time, money, and often a mental cost that takes us away from the things that nurture our inner peace. Each material desire satisfied breeds new desires, leading us to seek more, often leaving us feeling less fulfilled than before. By choosing simplicity, we regain control over our time and mental energy. We free ourselves from the need to constantly acquire, finding contentment instead in less. Living simply also makes us more resilient. If we are not dependent on a life filled with luxuries, we become more adaptable to life's changes. Imagine a situation where you suddenly face a financial setback. For someone who has built their happiness around wealth and luxury, this would be devastating. But for the Stoic who has embraced simplicity and trained themselves to find satisfaction in the basics, this setback would not rob them of peace. They would adapt, accepting the change with calmness and poise. Reflect on this. How much of your stress comes from the things you feel you must have or maintain? What might life look like if you no longer felt burdened by the need for more? By simplifying, you eliminate the unnecessary, creating space in your life for what truly matters. When we are not busy maintaining excess, we can turn our focus inward, cultivating virtues that wealth alone cannot buy: wisdom, resilience, and contentment. Living simply also brings us closer to nature and to ourselves. When we stop defining ourselves by what we own, we rediscover who we are at our core. This simplicity is a pathway to freedom, a life unburdened by the weight of possessions, and instead rich in purpose and clarity. Stoicism teaches us that there is strength in being able to let go, to detach from the things that do not serve our higher values. True contentment, after all, comes not from what we hold in our hands, but from what we nurture within our hearts. As we embrace this simplicity, let us reflect on the relationships that enrich our lives. Moving on to the next principle, where we explore the value of genuine friendships, connections that withstand the test of time, regardless of material wealth or status. 7. Value true friendships over material success, investing in lasting connections. What remains with us when material wealth fades? When all the trophies, titles, and possessions are set aside, what truly endures? In Stoicism, the answer lies in genuine friendships, bonds that sustain us through both joy and hardship. Epictetus and the Stoics viewed friendship as a source of resilience and support, a type of wealth that cannot be lost in the same way as material possessions. To prioritize friendship over material success is to choose a life of richness that no fortune can provide. Consider how much of our energy is directed toward achieving success, often defined by wealth and status. Yet these things can be fleeting, dependent on circumstances beyond our control. Stoicism reminds us that true wealth is found not in what we accumulate, but in the depth of our relationships. Unlike material possessions, friendships offer warmth, encouragement, and strength that remain with us even in times of adversity. Think of a friend who has stood by you in difficult times. Was their support not more valuable than any material comfort? This Stoic perspective on friendship emphasizes quality over quantity. A few true friends, individuals who are loyal, honest, and supportive, are worth infinitely more than a crowd of superficial acquaintances. True friends encourage us to grow, challenge us to be better, and provide us with an anchor when life feels uncertain. They remind us of our values, offering perspective when we might otherwise lose ourselves in the pursuit of success or status. This type of friendship is not built overnight. It requires time, sincerity, and mutual respect. Ask yourself, who are the people in your life who bring you genuine joy and strength? Do you invest in these relationships with the same dedication that you might give to professional success? Stoicism teaches that cultivating meaningful relationships is a form of self-care and personal growth. By valuing these connections, we enrich our lives in ways that money cannot achieve. Each moment spent with a true friend is an investment in happiness and resilience, a wealth that remains even if other forms of success fade away. Moreover, true friendship, according to Stoicism, has the power to shape our character. Friends who embody qualities we admire can inspire us to cultivate those same virtues. Through friendship, we can learn patience, empathy, and humility. Good friends challenge us to rise above pettiness, to act with integrity, and to find strength in adversity. In their company, we are reminded of what truly matters, and we become more capable of facing life's challenges with dignity. Think of how different life would be if we cherished and prioritized these relationships, not merely as companionships, but as opportunities for growth. When we seek out friendships grounded in mutual respect and understanding, we create a network of support that fortifies us. We also open ourselves to the joy of shared experiences, laughter, and empathy, all of which contribute to a fulfilling life. The Stoic approach to friendship is therefore one of conscious choice, to value people over possessions, connection over status. Reflect for a moment. How much richer could your life be if you invested in these genuine relationships, treating them as treasures beyond price? What might you gain by spending less time chasing wealth and more time nurturing the bonds that truly sustain you? In prioritizing friendship, you lay the foundation for a life of greater joy and resilience, a life where success is measured not by what you own, but by who stands with you when all else fades. As we cherish the wealth of true friendship, let us turn our attention to the next principle: the importance of taking control over our own reactions and understanding that it is our responses rather than the events themselves that shape our destiny. 8. Take ownership of your reactions. Shaping your destiny through inner control. What if you realized that the true power over your life lies not in controlling events, but in mastering your reactions to them? This core Stoic insight teaches that while we may not have power over what happens to us, we hold immense power in choosing how we respond. Epictetus famously taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Through Stoicism, we learn that our responses shape our destiny, transforming every challenge into an opportunity to grow in strength, wisdom, and inner peace. Imagine a situation where you face an unexpected setback, perhaps a career obstacle, a strained relationship, or a financial difficulty. Instinctively, we may feel frustration, anger, or fear. Yet Stoicism reminds us that these events themselves are neutral. It is our interpretation and response that determine their impact. When we react impulsively or let emotions rule, we surrender our power to the event. However, when we choose a mindful, composed response, we reclaim control and act from a place of strength. Each time we make this choice, we become more resilient and more prepared to face future challenges with clarity. Ask yourself, how often have you let external events dictate your inner peace? Do you allow someone's criticism or an unfortunate circumstance to control your state of mind? Stoicism encourages us to see these moments as opportunities to practice self-mastery. By choosing our reactions, we are shaping our path. We are no longer mere participants in life. We become active agents, creators of our own experience. By mastering our reactions, we turn each moment into a stepping stone toward inner peace and fulfillment. This principle is especially powerful in times of conflict or adversity. When someone speaks harshly or behaves unfairly, our instinct may be to react defensively or with anger. Yet, Epictetus reminds us that by reacting this way, we hand over control of our emotions to another person. Imagine the freedom that comes from refusing to be provoked. When we respond calmly, choosing not to let others dictate our emotions, we become immune to their influence. This immunity is not about ignoring reality, but about responding from a place of strength rather than weakness. Consider the practice of observing your thoughts before reacting. When faced with a challenging situation, take a moment to pause, reflect, and choose a response that aligns with your values. In this way, you build the habit of thoughtful action, turning every encounter into a chance to embody the qualities you aspire to: patience, compassion, and resilience. Over time, these responses become second nature, transforming your life from within. Instead of being tossed by the waves of circumstance, you become anchored and grounded in your own principles. Reflect for a moment. How might your life transform if you approached each challenge with this sense of inner control? What would it feel like to live free from the pull of others' opinions, undisturbed by life's unpredictable changes? By mastering your reactions, you shape your experience of life, crafting a path defined by strength and peace rather than turbulence and regret. The Stoics teach us that this inner control is the foundation of true freedom, for nothing external can truly harm us if we retain mastery over our own mind. As you reach the end of these principles, you might feel a deeper understanding of how Stoicism can transform your approach to life. Each principle, embracing resilience, listening more, detaching from what you can't control, preparing for adversity, choosing positive influences, living simply, valuing friendship, and taking ownership of your reactions, is a tool to cultivate a life of purpose, peace, and inner strength. By embracing these principles, you are not merely adopting a philosophy, you are taking the first steps on a journey toward true freedom and mastery over yourself. Stoicism teaches that while the world may be unpredictable, our inner world can be a place of serenity, strength, and resilience. The storms of life will always come, but as Epictetus and the Stoics remind us, we have the power to remain steadfast, rooted in our values and grounded in our own strength. Take a moment to reflect on the wisdom of these principles and consider which one speaks most deeply to you. Which principle might you focus on this week, cultivating it as part of your daily life? Leave a comment sharing your thoughts, as each insight you bring adds to our collective understanding and growth. If you found value in this journey, remember to like the video, subscribe for more content on Stoicism and inner peace, and share this with others who might benefit from these powerful teachings. Thank you for being here, and may your path forward be one of resilience, peace, and enduring strength.